All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Jerry Pablo Ramirez, and this will be unfortunately my first and final lecture. And I'll be teaching this segment of Engineering 10 on solar power and just general renewable energy. Okay, here we go. So, first start out with French scientist Edmond Becquerel. Yes, let's disregard that pronunciation. Basically, he discovers the photovoltaic effect at 19. Crazy man. And that basically allows, through the use of an electric field by a semiconductor, or through the use of an electric field through a semiconductor, right? You can, with sunlight, you can move electrons and basically create current and what we know as electricity, right? And moving forward, right? A gentleman, Chris Fritz, in 1883, creates a first prototype with an efficiency of 1%, right? And at the time, you know, this might not sounded like a lot, but granted, in the 1800s, there wasn't much things that need electricity to begin with. So, thank you, Chris. All right, and then basically, through some time, especially through World War II and like semiconductor research, right? Bell Labs in the 50s, right? Piggybacking off that work, would pioneer semiconductor development and solar panels or solar cells as we know. Okay. So basically, jumping from there, the last 10 years, right? Who not necessarily the last 10 years, I should have worded that differently, but basically, we haven't really diverged much from Hoffman Electric's 10% efficient panel, right? As I said before, right, the 50s, pioneered, and there was like a pioneering time for photocells and everything. And yeah, we didn't, you know, really change from that. Even 2010s, solar panel efficiency, 10%. Nothing changed, right? And cost 40,000 per residential installation. And what I will say is probably like in the 60s, right? Semiconductor, like material science probably wasn't all there. So it was probably not only more expensive, but not to mention like more like fragile too, right? I don't think there's much you can do with like, not saying that they couldn't, right? They obviously did, right? And the engineering was enough to still be on par to like solar panels 10 years ago, but uh yeah, things were still basically definitely in the developmental stage, right? Then let's have to move on. Boom. And then yeah, present day, right? This is how things look like. You know, thankfully things have grown by 43% and it's more than 50% the costs have like halved more than like what is it? I feel like I'm wording that wrong, but basically from 40,000 to 18,000, right? That's more than like um that's less than half, right? Than was needed initially, like 10 years ago, right? And a good portion of that also comes from investments from China, right? And international sort of like drive to go green. But yeah, that's like helped production costs, installation, and on top of it too, like even some more famous companies like Tesla. And I forgot to mention a few, right? I just mentioned cars just because I feel like we're more accustomed to that currently. But yeah, Tesla, I think like LG, like General Electric, all them beautiful companies just making everything better. And then also there's more, like thankfully, like due to our agreements on becoming carbon neutral, not only us, like but internationally, like China, for example, there's plenty others, right? But we have that drive to go green, right? Electricity and not to mention, right, using hybrid systems with wind and hydroelectric power, right? These in conjunction will definitely help make a transition to where we can utilize all manners of um, renewable energies, right, and make it accessible to everyone. And not just that, but even technologies such as solid state batteries, right, will help with power transportation and storage. And let's say, for example, in Alaska, right, you may not be able to like utilize solar panel year round, but if you could store that, right, store it solid state battery, right, or even get it from like let's say California, for example, right, even like Mexico, right, that's a bit of a stretch, but they the point is, right, where the technologies, right, that they're very promising. And here we go, right? Here's just a few examples, right? We have some we have a, you know, solar roof to our left, right? Something you will see like something we even see now, right? Even at Laney, right, on our buildings, and solar plants that heat up and create like thermal energies, right, that we could use to like push turbines. And not to mention, right, on the bottom below that, I have how easy it is to just plug into the grid, right? Because these directly make the energy, right? The watts, the volts, like the currents, all that beautiful stuff. And it's not, there's no turbine, no moving parts. But admittedly, it is very synthetic, and manufacturing can be heavy in terms like pollution. So that's something they don't talk about. But in terms of how accessible it can be, though, it is definitely I'd say a benefit. Yeah, definitely a benefit. And moving forward, I think oh yeah. All right. I involved this question here just because although you like this is an introductory course, I want engineers to be accustomed with like calculus and how like integral, right? Or how amazing um it can be with our in our like for example in this question, right? Something that we could apply it like daily, right? Something that we can see like real time. And so basically the relationship W equals integral power times dt, basically like time and stuff. We have like how a solar panel has like different watts, right? Its wattage increases and decreases throughout the day. And this is just like basically if you can like imagine a sun here, right? You could see it rise, 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 and as soon as it gets to its peak, right? Obviously wattage and all that is like at its highest, right? And then as it slowly goes down, right? Obviously starts to take off. But um yeah, it's something that we could see here. It's something that we apply and I doubt. Thankfully, we have calculators, so I doubt you'll be able to do it by hand. Do this by. I doubt you'll ever have to do this by hand, right? But it is something definitely that you're gonna have plenty of practice of, especially if it's your first semester and move forward with your first semester, second, third semester's calculus. You're gonna have to learn to love it. Okay, and then here we go, basically solving the integral, and I feel like I could explain an integral, but basically it's like I wouldn't really trust my definition, but basically, right, in layman's terms, basically we're trying to understand this area under the curve, right? This total area. And a lot of times it's pretty simple, but, like a parabolic sort of, elliptical thing, right? But a lot of times you're going to get something like, let's say, even like a sine function where it's like boom, boom, sine or cosine, where it's like wavy, and you're like, huh, how am I going to do that, right? But yeah, I'm moving forward. That's just a way to how awesome calculus is. It helps simplify a lot of things. And basically, here we go. Going through the solution. Eventually, we get 4.8 kilowatt hours a day, right? And yeah, this just to show the amazing relationship between math and science. And it's also pretty straightforward, and these give us like I don't want to say perfect solutions, but math is as perfect as we can get. And so like, you're gonna, as I said before, learn to love it. And don't get me wrong, I've had years with this and I still haven't got to that point, but yeah, you're gonna eventually see how awesome it is and how much it plays, especially in your STEM fields, or even if you go outside of that, right? You could apply this basically everything, right? Because math is physics, right? They go hand in hand. And yeah, thank you. This has been a presentation by Dr. Ramirez in association with Laney College. I hope you all have a great winter break, and I'll see you all next semester. I hope that was 5 minutes. You think that was 5 minutes? I should have really set a timer.